So as we know, many Disney stars try to transition into music after they've had some success on TV and movies, especially when they're on the Disney Channel, because for some reason, some people think it's a great idea to just throw a music career at them, but only a few have truly succeeded. People like Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez have become huge pop stars in their own right, whilst on the other hand, so many more, including the few that we'll be talking about in this video, Mitchel Musso, Vanessa Hudgens, Corbin Bleu, and Emily Osment, did not experience their music career go as far as they had hoped it would, and a few of them's music career was actually kind of embarrassing. However, a few of these have gone on to have far more successful careers outside of music with acting, so that's good. But let's look at these four, how they started, their peak success, and why the music careers didn't last very long. Number 1, Mitchel Musso. So most of you know who Mitchel Musso was. You know his character Oliver Elkins on Hannah Montana, and he also played Jeremy Johnson on Phineas and Ferb. He was on a few other Disney related shows like Prank Stars and Pair of Kings, and his earlier success on shows like Hannah Montana really allowed him to venture into the music industry and follow his other channel peers who were also doing music. Now, most of the stars from Disney Channel who are given music careers are usually signed to Hollywood Records, but Mitchel Musso was signed to the Walt Disney Records in 2008. He released his self-titled debut album in 2009, and this album peaked at number 19 on the Billboard 200, selling a little over 20,000 copies in its first week. But that's just about where the success ends. Even the singles weren't that successful. Hey, which was one of the more popular songs from his album, was only really popular on Radio Disney, and it didn't really make any impact on the charts. Another single, Shouted, was kind of gaining some traction, but it never really became any mainstream hit whatsoever. It was never as big as Hey, and Hey wasn't even that big. His follow-up album, Brainstorm, released in 2010, was actually an EP, and it performed even worse than his previous album, mostly due to bad promotion. His first album didn't do well at all, so I'm not sure why he was given another chance, but I guess maybe they thought this time things would be different, but obviously things were not. And the reason why he struggled is because his music was heavily tied to his image as a Disney star. And without their support, he didn't really have star power, especially to make music. It looks like he could have gotten another chance to release more music. However, in 2011, his contract with Walt Disney Records was cancelled because he was arrested for a DUI, which was not good because around the same time, he was on 2 different Disney shows. He was on Pair of Kings, which was on Disney XD, and then he was on Prank Stars, which was on the main Disney Channel. He was actually arrested the day before the 4th episode of Prank Stars was released, and obviously because of that, Disney not wanting to be associated with a person with a DUI, the show was cancelled after just 6 episodes. He still appeared on Phineas and Ferb as a voice actor, but his music career never recovered. He has tried to release music later on, even sort of kind of doing rap, but obviously that wasn't a success. Next is Vanessa Hudgens. Many of you know who Vanessa is. She played Gabriella Montez on High School Musical from 2006 to 2008. And the same year that the first High School Musical came out, she was given a record deal by Hollywood Records. And they really tried to push her as a singer because with her, it made more sense. She was already on a musical. People knew that she could sing. And so them giving her a music career made more sense. Her first album, V, released in 2006, sold 34,000 copies in its first week and peaked at number 24. The album had 2 singles, which were kind of successful but not that successful. The lead single, Come Back to Me, was a moderate success. It peaked at number 55 on the Billboard 100, and Say Okay, which is my favorite song from her entire discography and a lot of people's favorite, was slightly less successful, peaking at 61 on the charts. Her second album, Identified, released in 2008, was a commercial disappointment. It peaked at number 23 on the Billboard 200 charts, selling over 22,000 copies in its first week, 12,000 less than her previous album. And this album had 1 major single, Sneaker Night, and it wasn't a success. Honestly, Sneaker Night being released as a single will forever baffle me because it was not a good song. Now, the reason for her decline was mostly a lack of strong branding because she was very associated to the High School Musical image. And also in 2007, which is the year after she released her first album, private nude photos of her would leak online, which led to a huge controversy because this is one of the major stars on a major kids franchise. So having her associated with that was really not good for parents, for Disney. It was kind of insane. Honestly, I'm shocked that something so extreme didn't get her kicked off the High School Musical franchise. That just goes to show you how important Vanessa Hudgens playing Gabriela Montez on High School Musical was to the franchise. Because if Disney thought that they could get away with changing her character on the movie, they would have done that. Also, the photos were released in 2007, and around that time, most of High School Musical 2 had been filmed. So yeah, it kind of makes sense why she wasn't kicked off the franchise. They weren't going to be able to film everything that they had already filmed. So they really did damage control when it comes to saving the franchise, and for the most part, it was successful, but her music career was not able to recover from that. Not that she was doing very well in the first place. And after the underperformance of her second album, Identified, in 2008, she quickly left Hollywood Records in 2009. Currently, she's very successful. She's married, she has a baby, she's really focused on acting, and she has experienced a lot of success with acting, and she has not put out any plans to return to music. Next is Corbin Bleu, also from High School Musical. He played Chad Danforth in the franchise, and just like Vanessa Hudgens, he was also signed to Hollywood Records from 2006 to 2009. He released his first album, Another Side, in 2007. It peaked at number 36 on the Billboard 200 charts, selling 18,000 copies in its first week. It had one major single called Push It to the Limit. It was really popular on Radio Disney, and it sort of kind of made an impact on the Billboard charts. When it was first released, it peaked at number 14 on the charts, but it didn't really stay very long, and the subsequent singles from the album were not very successful. His second album, Speed of Light, which was released in 2009, was such a commercial disaster. It barely sold 5,000 copies in its first week, and it had no major hit singles, like literally none. And the reason why he didn't experience the success that he probably was hoping for was mostly because people didn't really care that he had a music career. From my perspective, Corbin Bleu is an actor who just happened to be in a very successful movie musical franchise. It doesn't mean that he needed to have a music career. I know a lot of people enjoyed his music, but the fact of the reality is most people didn't, which is why he did not have any sort of longevity in the music industry. But of course, even though his music career wasn't very successful, he has done really well when it comes to acting and being on Broadway, which makes me really happy and also makes sense because his first successes was with acting, so I'm glad he was able to hold on to that, and the failure of his music career did not affect his acting career on Broadway and on movies and TV shows. The last Disney Channel star we're going to be talking about is Emily Osment. Now this will come as a surprise to a lot of people because even back in 2011 when I learned that Emily Osment, who plays Lily Truscott from Hannah Montana, had a music career, it made no sense to me. And obviously most people thought exactly the way I did because her music career was by far the least successful out of everyone we've spoken about in this video. But her career outside of music has been the most successful. Like, she is killing it right now. So Emily Osment, as you already know, played Lily Truscott on Hannah Montana. She was Miley's best friend. She, unlike the other three, was not signed to a record label affiliated with Disney. She signed with Wind Up Records from 2009 to 2011. Her first release was an EP called All the Way Up, released in 2009, and we don't have exact sales figures for this EP, but it peaked at 171 on the Billboard 200 charts, and this was more like a pop rock kind of indie pop sound. Her official debut album, Fight or Flight, was released in 2010, and it also was not a success. It peaked at 170 on the Billboard 200 charts, just one position higher than her previous EP, and this did have that pop rock sound from her previous album, but it featured a lot more electro pop and EDM sounds. It also had a little bit of dance hall and techno on a few of the songs, but it was really different from Disney's usual bubblegum pop songs that were being marketed to the children that enjoy stars from the Disney Channel. And a perfect example of what this album sounded like was the second single, Lovesick, which was not a big success, but it's kind of a bop. Like, it's actually a really fun song. I love it. But unfortunately, that song barely made any impact in the United States. It kind of did well in Canada, but that's just about it. And in 2011, she left or was either dropped from the label, and we wouldn't get new music from Emily until 2019 when she released her second EP, When I Loved You, this time not under Emily, but under the stage name Bluebird. And this album was very different from her previous two. This was more vocal forward and easy listening. Her other albums had a lot of auto-tune on those songs, but this one did not. It was very calm, very, like I said, easy listening. From what I remember, it was actually quite nice. I did listen to one song before making this video on YouTube because for some reason I can't find it on Apple Music. But yeah, this release was an even bigger disappointment than her previous two, which is really unfortunate. But like I said, out of all the four people that I've talked about in this video, she by far has had the most consistent success when it comes to acting. Vanessa Hudgens has been in a lot of movies, and that is really great for her. Corbin Bleu has mostly focused on TV movies and Broadway, so he's also having a lot of success in that field. Mitchel Musso is not doing very well. Like, it's actually kind of sad. But Emily Osment has mostly focused in the TV area. She's mostly been doing TV shows, and she has had a lot of success from there. She has been consistent in acting in various TV shows. She was on Young and Hungry, which had like 5 seasons. Pretty Smart was another show on Netflix, but that one was just 1 season. She was on Young Sheldon for multiple seasons, and now she has her own show, Georgie and Mandy's First Wedding. It's a spin-off of Young Sheldon and part of the Big Bang Theory franchise, and apparently she's making a lot of money per episode on that show. So I'm really happy for her. I'm really happy that she's experiencing this much success, especially due to the fact that she had the worst commercial performance when it comes to her music career out of all the 4. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this. Let me know which other Disney or maybe Nickelodeon stars you would like me to make this kind of video on. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!